This is episode 52 of Powerful.tv Big Fight Weekly with myself, Stuart Palmer, and my co-host and cousin, Chris Stu. How are we?
Yeah, not bad. Looking forward to getting into some really good fights this weekend. Though, Stuart, I'm going to hit this off the topic before we get into anything. Did you enjoy the fight yesterday at the Oscars?
I did, but The Rock could have laid the smackdown on the pair of them, if I'm honest. The Rock was there. I've seen still images of various Hollywood actors in there. DiCaprio even had done much. But yeah, The Rock should have maybe rock bottom Chris Rock and slapped the taste out of Will Smith's mouth. But at the same time, Will Smith was defending the honour of his wife. But I still maintain it was staged. That was staged. That was staged.
Yeah, you could quite easily say that. I woke up this morning, about say 4:30 this morning, got my brew, sat in the kitchen, and then obviously I sort of see that. I walk into that on my phone, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? So, I watch it. It does look staged, and I get this whole honour with your wife. But if you're honouring Karis or I'm honouring Alison, I'm not slapping the guy, am I? I'm punching the guy. Who slaps a man? Explain to me.
I don't know.
World, why would you?
Only in Hollywood, Chris, would that happen? Just madness. And can we also say, you did say prior, this episode is for the life and times of Taylor Hawkins of the Foo Fighters, the drummer. So sad that over the weekend hearing of his passing. They were out in Colombia, weren't they, for shows? They're doing the South American circuit, doing the festivals there. And found in his hotel room dead, 50 years old, 50 years young as well. And it's so sad, Chris. And I know you got to see the Foos in Leeds in 2004. And subsequently, I got to see them in 2007. And they were fantastic live, as good as any band I've seen. And Taylor epitomised the band, and him and Dave Grohl were so close knit, man. It's very sad. And as you said, it begs the question: will the Foo Fighters, re-emerge from this? Will they play? I do take what you're saying. It might not happen.
It's hard going, isn't it? Because they've just released a film, Studio 666, which I watched on the Saturday after I found out. But I was watching it anyway. That was my plan. But I watched it. They obviously released their new album to go alongside the film. And obviously then this happens, pretty much all within a couple of weeks, really. Yeah. I think they released the album the day before, obviously, Tyler, the situation happened. So it's sad, and it's horrible, isn't it? When you see this time and time again that, I don't like using the term, but we'll say rock star. And this happens, isn't it, where it's an overdose. And it's really sad because the guy was extremely talented. It wasn't just a drummer, Stuart. He sung songs for Foo Fighters. A Cold Day in the Sun, for one. He sung in that. You've obviously posted about Queen, and he did Somebody to Love by Queen, didn't he, with Brian May with him? Yeah, it's just ultra talented guy, but just really, really sad. I don't know where Foo Fighters go. Dave Grohl obviously double hits, isn't it? Kurt Cobain, Taylor Hawkins. And Kurt Cobain's anniversary is only, a week away?
Their music's been used in sport as well. Walkout music for fighters across MMA, combat sports, boxing. Yeah. It's one of them, isn't it? It's so well known. One of the best, if not the best band in rock, for subsequent amount of years. But yeah, this is in memory of Taylor Hawkins, of his life. Such a tragedy. And Chris, I think, are we moving on to UFC Fight Night?
Just want to throw this person out, Stuart, because we've missed this guy.
Brett Thomas. Come on, Brett, you're here. Hello, mate. Hello. Good to have you on board, man. Where have you been as well? Let us know where you've been. And I think I know what your questions are going to be like.
Oh, yeah. He's got plenty, I've seen.
Right. Mate.
I will pull up Brett's comments.
Mate. Nice to have him back.
We do have someone I don't know I've seen before on our show, Stu.
David Sparks. I'm here to hear about Will Smith and Chris Rock, WrestleMania. I think it's a bit too late in the day. You're going to see Johnny Knoxville and you're going to see Logan Paul over the weekend on that show, whether you like it or not.
Is it Logan Paul in a new wrestling game? I'm sure I saw that. Along with Machine Gun Kelly.
You know more than me on that, because obviously I've seen 2K22 out, but yeah, that's the story for another genre, another topic. We look forward to WrestleMania on the weekend, though. But yeah, Chris, anything else before we go into Fight Night Blaydes and Daukaus?
No, let's crack on because there's some, awful fights then. Fuck, I'm wrong there. Absolutely brilliant fights. I wasn't expecting much from the card, Stuart. I was a bit like, with who was fighting. Obviously, I'm a big Kaya France supporter, so
I really like that lad. I've seen 2 fights properly now. Sorry, I'm jumping in, but
no.
He's talented. He's a talented kid. Well, I call him a kid. He's 29, but yeah, man.
But we'll get into that anyway. We'll start from the top.
Can I just say, preceding what we'd seen in London the previous week, like you say, you're not expecting much, but it did deliver, didn't it? It did deliver on the whole.
There's these sneaky cards, I call them. You don't expect much, but you go into it, like everything else, and yeah, it delivered. But we'll go straight from the top, Stuart, with Curtis Blaydes' win over Daukaus.
Chris, what a victory! I mean, he caught him, Daukaus, didn't he? He caught Blaydes in the first round with a good one. But yeah. What a shot, man. What a shot from Blaydes. And, solidifies where he is in the heavyweight division, Chris. You've always said this. Sometimes is he overlooked with who's around him?
No, because Curtis Blaydes, he's been in there with everybody. Bar Serial Gone, which he called out at his post-fight. I kind of think you should have called out Tom Aspinall because I think that fight would make a lot of sense if he doesn't get tied to Uvasa. But, he's called out Syria Gone. But he's been in there. Don't forget, he's been in with Ngannou twice. He's been there with Derek Lewis. I think our very first episode was on Blade and Lewis, Stuart, actually, come to think of it. He's been in there with all the top heavy hitters at heavyweight. As I said, Syria Gone, probably the only one. And I think Miocic, he obviously called out as well. And I don't think he did it on the mic. I think it was afterwards. But obviously, Stipe was in the crowd. They were former training partners as well. I didn't know that until I find out more on this Sunday. I think there's still a lot to go with Blaydes. He's still learning his craft. We all know how talented he is as a wrestler, and he's very good on the top, and he can smash people from the top. He's evolving his striking game, which I feel like it's getting better. Yes, he did get caught by Daukaus a few times, but obviously you saw the difference between Blaydes and Daukaus, who hit the hardest. And once Blaydes connected, his eye socket, I'm assuming that eye socket's quite badly damaged to it because he connected quite solidly right on the line of the eye socket. Daukaus, Blaydes has come out and said that Daukaus should go down to 205. He thinks he'd be better there. It's a lot of weight to cut, isn't it, from 260 to 205? But it's one of them. But with Blaydes, I'm interested to see where it goes because he has fought the who's who. There's only a couple of fighters out there he hasn't. I think Cyril Gane's a very good call out. Cyril Gane's a very good fighter. We've seen him against Ngannou. We've seen him against Lewis previously, and so on. It's a good shout. Stipe, I think Stipe and John Jones, Stuart. I feel like that fight just seems to not go away. I know Taito Uvasa has called out Stipe. I just think Stipe versus John Jones for the interim title. Why? Obviously, Ngannou's had his surgery now and he's on the mend. That makes sense. If you get what I mean, I think that sells more, Stipe versus John Jones. And in the meantime, we could figure out Blaydes, Aspinall, and Taito Uvasa and figure out what we can do with them three. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think you said yourself that the heavyweight division is exploding. You're getting a lot of different fighters and different styles of fighters. We're not just getting heavy punchers now. We're getting, wrestlers. We're getting jiu-jitsu artists, but they're all mixed into one, and it's great to see. And they're faster, Stuart. A lot faster than they've ever been.
I mean, I did a disservice to Aspinall, mate, when I said he was like a 185, and you're saying to me, no, hold on a minute, it's like a featherweight. He moves like a featherweight in there, but yeah, it's amazing. What a time. And I remember years ago when you were coming up against the top of the top, the creme de la creme in there, and you were a guy lower down, it was like, you haven't got a chance. Like now, there's uncertainty and they're going into the fights who's going to come out, because I just find it's totally, it's evolved, that division. There's no question. And as you've said for a long, long time on the show, John Jones coming into mix. We're waiting for it. Can he keep his nose clean? Pardon the pun, because it's he's lost years of his career, man, and no doubt there's a legacy there. But imagine how much more, how many more fights he could have had. He probably could have had another 10, 12 fights on his resume with all the messing about, and could be the best ever. You could be putting him in there alongside Anderson Silva, GSP. and you could say he'd be the best of all time. It's a shame, isn't it? It's a shame a man so talented, a hybrid of the sport.
Yeah, but you're 100% right. His outside discretions have sort of peeled back a lot of his MMA layers. I remember the guy when he broke on the scene. I remember him against Stephan Bonner. We all remember him against Shogun Rua when he really burst on the scene and won the title because Rashad Evans got injured. We've seen him defend the title 11 times at 205, a light heavyweight for other people. No one's matched that. It's just everything else in between. It's sort of really got in the way of his career, as you said. Becoming the Hall of Famer. I no doubt he'll become a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt that'll be the situation when he decides to call it a day. But there were so many fights he could have had in a between light heavyweight. We didn't get the Rumble Johnson fight. I think everyone would love to have seen that. There's a few fights at 205 that we could have seen. It's if he trains hard and stays away from all the shit. Maybe we might see something different. We all know he's training with Henry Cejudo, so that could help. Maybe I don't know what Henry Cejudo is like as a coach. I don't know what his gym's sort of like. So if anyone's out there that's listening, please tell me. But we'll see. I'm assuming this year, Stuart.
Back to Daukaus because he's obviously further down the pecking order. What you're saying light heavyweight, but that's a big cut. What next for him? What would be a feasible one for him? Saying that he is going to stay with heavyweight, which you would imagine. Where for him off the back of this? It's a few losses, isn't it?
It's hard to say. Because UFC's heavyweight division, as we've obviously said quite time and time again, it's evolving, isn't it? And these sort of fighters who are would you say old school? They come to bang and. It's not that sort of division anymore. He was ranked 10th before he fought Curtis Blaydes. After that, you got Tybura, Spivak, Oleoniuk, Sakai, Walt Harris.
Looking down rather than upwards for him next. Lower down. And they're all capable. They're all capable guys in that top 15, top 20 anyway. Do you know what I mean? And there's no disgrace, is it? It's just how stacked it is in there, Chris.
And it's already and ever evolving division now. So it's you got to come in with more than just a heavy punch nowadays. We've seen it time and time again. Look at Ngannou. He's come in as just a power puncher. You saw it against Cyril Gane. He's now evolving using that wrestling. And, when a big guy who's got power punchers can stop using wrestling, it makes him extremely dangerous.
Absolutely. Have got any comments, Chris, before we moving on to Grasso and Wood?
Well, I'm going to throw in some Brett's because it's been a long, long time. And I think you know where we're going with this.
I know where he's coming. Jake Paul would have too much firepower for Conor McGregor in a boxing match, according to Khabib Nurmagomedov's head coach, Javier Mendez, also by his own coach.
I don't think John Kavanagh said that, has he?
Brett's obviously heard it from somewhere.
To be honest with you, Brett, you've got to look at the weight class difference. Conor is a natural 155er, and I'm assuming in Jake Paul's shoot, you're going to have with the weight terms here.
190. He's in like cruiser. He's in a cruiserweight area. It's a big differential.
And the height difference as well.
Absolutely. It lends itself to him having more power.
I keep hearing that he wants to fight Conor McGregor in the UFC, which I
Bad idea. Also, you guys be happy with me as I listened to TalkSport, where Frank Warren and White's manager went head-to-head about Dillian not promoting. What a mess that is. This is why Jake is needed. Hey, selling a fight, Brett, I agree. They could all take tips from Jake Paul. There's no question on the selling side of it. I'll give him that. But yeah, White knows he's getting a big payday anyway, regardless of what he says or doesn't say. It's the biggest amount of money he's ever going to make in boxing. Also, if you played WWE 2K22, good news. Logan Paul will be part of DLC coming next year.
There you go.
Next year.
I don't know. Actually, I think he means this year. I think that's coming out the DLC. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't played it yet. I've only watched a bit of gameplay here and there. It's obviously more from Brett Paul. I could call him Brett Paul, couldn't I?
I think finally they both get respect now in boxing. As you see Frank dealing with them at Matchroom, both promoters slated him, and now look, they need him. He's done some stuff with Eddie Hearn, Brett, to promote, the girls fighting, which is coming up. I didn't know you was on new channel. Chris can allude to the new channel.
Yeah, he's sub now. I've thought that now.
Okay, love the orange top shoe Under Armour. It's all how much and where is it from? This is from a clearance shop in Cheshire Oaks. It's like a discount place. So yeah, that's where the missus got it. I did see it in JD Sports, Brett, but obviously I got a better price. But yeah, you know me, bright and vibrant. That's what it's all about. Jake Paul needed to be at the Oscars, and he would have took him down. Chris?
You know what? It wouldn't shock me. I know he's come out and said he'd give them both 15 million each for a boxing fight on his own promotion. So who knows?
And look, obviously alluding to the death of Taylor Hawkins, Foo Fighters drummer, so sad. One of my favourite bands ever. I saw them in Wembley. Oh, so you've seen them as well, Brett? Yeah, me and Chris can attest.
And it's probably your beginning of the now here, so there you go.
You've been working hard. Nice one, mate. No, good. And I hope you're healthy and fit and well too, matey.
Cutting that grass.
Yeah, keep cutting the grass. Good weather for it as well, Brett.
Yeah, before it turns.
Yeah.
Right,
moving on.
This will be a quick one, Stuart, because it didn't last much. Well, it didn't last very long, really, did it?
Absolutely. As you can see in the headline there, Grasso sweeps aside Joanne Wood with first round submission. Yeah, it was a breeze, wasn't it, for Grasso, Chris, this one, which is a shame. We obviously want Joanne Wood to do well. Formerly Joanne Calderwood. And she's been with the UFC since 2013, isn't it, Chris?
I'd say so, yeah. So
she's had a long time, but there's another defeat, mate, and it's this rock and a hard place that we always refer to. What next for her, Chris? We'll sort out Grasso next, but yeah, our native UK fighter Joanne. What next, Chris? What's going to happen for her off the back of this?
It's a hard one, isn't it? Because where does she go? Because that's 2 losses on the bounce, isn't it, for Joanne now? You've got to look. I think she maybe needs to go away. Maybe take 12 months off, Stuart, and really define herself as a fighter. Really, really sort of put yourself back into what got you there. What made you hungry? Because I feel like Joanne is a stand-up fighter. She's ultra talented with the kickboxing, Stuart. The Muay Thai, she's really, really good in that aspect. It's when she gets taken down. You've seen it when, especially with Grasso's finish on it, she gets caught in submissions. I feel like if she went away and spent a lot of time just really getting the craft in on the submission defense, I think she'd be fine. Because she's got the stand-up Stuart and she can cause a lot of trouble for a lot of fighters. She was, would you say 12 months ago was close to facing Shevchenko until Shevchenko got injured.
It's mad. And, Grasso was ranked 9th. Joanne Wood was ranked 7th. So that's going to, that's where Grasso's going, isn't she, with that victory? And, it's mad to think when you're on the precipice of fighting for a title and now you're down the rankings, and she's still in around the top 10, Chris. There's no mean feat, is it? But yeah, I do just wonder how many more losses until she's cut. I don't want to be too negative on the girl, but you got to learn from it, surely, from a submission aspect. There's got to be a learning curve somewhere with it, or it could be her Achilles heel, Chris, within mixed martial arts.
Yeah, but these are fighters, Stuart. They train to be fighters. So, I mean, she's in a good gym. She's in America, and there's plenty of gyms in the USA to really go and hone your craft somewhere else, and really get someone that that's a very good jiu-jitsu practitioner, and really home in and just go at it. Because I think if once she can get that out of the way and she can learn to defend the submissions, defend the takedowns, she'd cause problems. I don't think she beat Shevchenko. I don't think anyone in that division beats Shevchenko personally. But, she can get herself back up and get that confidence. Because I think maybe that's what it is. It's a lack of confidence now. 2 for 2. And I think she's 7-7, or maybe she's 7-8 in UFC now. Well, I think she is. Yeah, 7-8 in UFC now. It's hard for her because she's a UK fighter, and you want to get behind our UK fighters, especially after last week. But it's just one of them. Maybe, like I said, she goes away, really works hard on just the whole aspect of the grappling. I think she'll come back and she'll be just as fine.
Very, very. It's just so hard when you're in the premier promotion in the world, isn't it? It's I think Dana's, because she's been there so long as well. Dana's got a lot of time for the girl, but it's just sometimes people hang on, don't they, longer than others in there.
Too long,
regardless of it, if they've lost more than they've won. We've seen it over the years, haven't we? But I wonder going forward what will happen there, Chris. Are we commenting? Are we moving on? Have you got anything to add before we move on?
Well, move on, because the next fight, Stuart, was probably the best fight on the whole card.
Absolutely. Matt Brown, long-time UFC veteran, and Bryan Barberena in what was a fantastic 3-round split decision victory for Bryan Barberena. But I thought there was a case for Matt Brown, obviously, it's a split decision there, Chris.
Yeah, it was close.
I thought Matt Brown edged it from what I could see. I've only seen the highlights, but yeah, what did you think on that one? I thought Matt Brown edged it.
I thought he won the first 2 rounds. I think he won the first 2 rounds, but I think towards the middle part of the second round, you can see he was gassed, wasn't he? Don't forget, Matt Brown's been in the UFC for years. The guy's 41, and to still keep going with people half his age is phenomenal, and it's fantastic. And any fighter that wants to be a fighter should look at people like Matt Brown and think, crikey, that guy is just gone and gone and gone, and he's fought the best. Don't forget. I think he won the first 2 rounds, Stu, but it could be like that to the second round, because, like I said, halfway through it, he started to gas a bit, and Barberena was starting to, really pile it on him. The third round is very topsy-turvy, isn't it? But I think Barberena was more in control, and I think he got more of the significant strikes in the third round. He did get caught by Matt Brown, because he was knackered. He was just trying to throw and try and catch him, wasn't he? I'd probably say on the longer line, I think Matt Brown probably did win the fight, but what a fight, Stuart. It was like, remind me of Stephen Bonner and Forrest Griffin in the Ultimate Fighter finale, where they were just, they just went at it. There wasn't any lull in the fight. It was just constant, just trying to get ahead of your competitor. Any way, shape or form, land that killer blow, use the takedowns, try all sorts, but it was so ultra competitive that they both went at it, and that is it's a poster for mixed martial arts, this kind of fight.
Absolutely, yeah. I think Matt Brown did enough, but yeah, there was all sorts in the fight, wasn't it? Striking fantastic. There was a bit of grappling. Bloody hell, if you want to see what it's all about in there, my word, just a mixture of stuff going on, and even in a, I think they would have gone on for 5 rounds, these two, Chris. If there was 6 rounds, 7 rounds in MMA.
I don't think Matt Brown would get past the third if that was the case.
Do you think he was dead on his feet?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I think he was getting clipped. You've watched towards the end. He was getting lit up at the end, and I think a couple more. I say if there was like a minute or so left in that round. I think Barberena would have won the fight. But I didn't know this, Stuart. I don't know if you knew this as well. That was Barberena's last fight on his contract.
He's kept himself in.
Well, he said at his post-fight that UFC ever give him a new contract or he's retiring, which is a shame, because he's been in with some pretty good up-and-coming fighters, and he's beaten some good fighters. He's been a mainstay in that sort of below the 15-10 mark. So it's a shame if UFC don't give him a contract, because he put a show on, on the weekend, and he didn't have to, consider it was his last fight. He kind of just thought, well, what the hell with it, Or maybe that's why he went wild. He'd thought, what the hell with it. But yeah, great fight, Stuart. I loved it.
Fantastic. Again, just the cards are the cards keep delivering, don't they? Absolutely. Anything else to add? Any more comments? Anything?
No.
For us? Kai Kara France and Chris. Massive victory. Askarov, who is, was ranked second in the flyweight division. Kai Kara France was sick. Huge win. Huge win. Fantastic fight again, Chris. And Kai Kara France's stock definitely rises, doesn't it?
Yeah, because you got to think the Askarov and the Cody fight. I mean, they're 2 big names. Askarov was that close to a title shot. Cody's already been a champion, and he knocked him out. Yeah, he's just getting better and better. And I like it because you know what? He was smiling, and I think the crowd loved him when he got announced the winner. I think that was as loud as it was on the last weekend at UFC London. You know, and you could see he was smiling, he was taking it in, and he was enjoying himself. But it's takedown defense, Stuart. And Askarov is not like a normal sort of grappler. He shoots with the one leg and makes you sort of panic because you have to sort of hop. And he uses the side sweep to get you down. Doesn't go for double legs as often. And he changes it that way. And I think that's what disrupts a lot of fighters when they fight against him. Because they're used to thinking that, you know, oh, he's going to shoot a double leg, where he goes for a single and sweeps. And he's normally very good on top. But you've got to give your hat off to Kaikia France because he found a way to get up when he got took down. He snuffed a lot of takedowns as well. And when he had the chance to let himself go with the striking, his accuracy was quite pinpoint.
Fantastic from what I could see. Again, I've only seen highlights, Chris, but it's just the will, the will. And I wonder, like, again, I always ask you this: who next? Who next for Kai? Who do you want to see? I know you're going to tell me. I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your eyes.
It's already been answered. Figueiredo.
Oh, okay.
Figueiredo.
Right, okay. Right, okay.
Because obviously, I don't know if you knew the rumor that they were looking for a Mourinho Figueiredo 4, which would be the first ever, because we've never seen two fighters fight 4 times.
No.
He scratched that now, and he, which I think, you know, I think this is fair. He said, you know, Kaikia France, basically he can be the next guy in line, which I think is fair because he's paid his dues. He's beaten who's in front of him. Askarov was meant to be the next guy in line after these two, after Figueiredo and Moreno, and he's just knocked him off. So yeah, why not? Why not Kaikia France versus Figueiredo for the title? Why not?
Absolutely. Anything more to add? Anything else on this?
No, but I feel like, you know, I mean, it's covered. If you want to go watch it, it's on YouTube, and it's a hell of a good fight.
I've seen the highlights. I need to watch the whole fight, but in its entirety. Absolutely. Moving on to Marc Diakiese. Yes, we are. The UK's own Marc Diakiese uses his wrestling to outwit Team Alpha Male's own Viacheslav, Borshchev, and Chris
Borshchev.
Right? Okay. Borshchev. How he needed a win. He needed a win, didn't he?
He did.
What's his record? What's his record in more recent times, Diakiese?
Diakiese's. I can find that one out for you if you give me 2 seconds.
Got a funny feeling he was on. Needed this, didn't he? He's
5-5 in the UFC, and to be fair, Stuart, he's fought Fiziev, who's the next up and comer at lightweight.
Yeah.
He lost to Rafael Alvarez. He beat Lando Fernata, which is, you know, Lando Fernata a few years ago. Stuart almost
highly touted, wasn't he, at one time?
Almost shot the world by TKO in Tony Ferguson many years ago now. He's 5-5, so he'd be 6-5 now after this fight. He's ranked. Well, these ranks are a bit weird. So they say he's ranked 44, which I don't know how that works. But yeah, he's lost 2 on the bounce. He needed this because we all know what they're like. UFC, if you lose 3 fights and you're not really a big pulling power, you do get the cut. So he's got this win. Okay, it wasn't a normal Diakiese sort of fight, was it? Marc Diakiese is known for his flamboyancy and his unorthodox sort of kickboxing, and he throws some outlandish kicks, and he's got known for his punching power. He's heavy on his punching power. But yeah, he used his wrestling, and I thought he was clever and he was smart because he was losing. I think he was losing the stand-up battle a bit. He was getting caught with calf kicks, so he used his wrestling. Okay, it wasn't exactly the most exciting fight, but what a win's a win in this day and age, and he desperately needed it. So any means necessary. So we can see where he goes after this. In the rankings, though, was a funny one, Stuart. He's
44th.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on there, man? It's like I know he's had a bit of a bad run, but that's crazy. That's crazy. But
he's below a one Mason Jones, actually.
Oh, they could get matched up then.
Well, you know what? I don't, obviously, me, I don't like Brit versus Brit, but you know what? Why not have a Wales versus England fight? Now we can have one. Why not? Why not go for it?
That'd be fantastic. And, if they're saying about them coming back to the UK twice this year, you could definitely put that together rather than them having to fly over to America and do it, because it'll sell better over here, won't it? But big win for him, Chris, because couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, he was really highly touted, wasn't he, coming into the promotion?
Yeah, he was. He came on when he came to the UFC. He's made his debut, and he was getting taken down. He was struggling in his first fight. I can't remember who it was against. And he came back and won by a knockout, Stuart. And then he knocked out another guy that's come up with my name. He was a Swedish fella, knocked him clean out. But like I say, he's fought some really good fighters. He hasn't been in with tin cans per se, if you want to say that. I wouldn't call a fighter a tin can because, you've still got to the stage where UFC is. But, he's fought some heavy, hard fights. Like Fiziev is one of them fighters that, his trajectory is straight up, Stuart. And, he lost a decision. He didn't get finished by him. So, maybe now he can get his confidence back and maybe utilize his wrestling a bit more and use his striking with it. But, it's good to see another Brit win after last weekend. So he did carry the flag. Absolutely.
We've had some comments in Facebook as well. Don't know, is it coming up on your end?
No, it has not.
We've had a few, not like mega amounts. We've had Almirante, La Parra, Lorette saying hello. We've had Lewis Young, who we have on, he's on every week with us, isn't he, watching? And Javier Ross, Stu's the man. I'm going to downplay that one. So Javier's at Pro Wrestling Stories, set me up with some interviews. So thank you for that, Javier, but I'll downplay that one. But on a few in Facebook as well. Chris, anything more to add? Any UFC news? Anything come up that you'd like to share before we switch codes?
Yes, there was actually. There was Jan Blachowicz and Rakic have been rebooked as well. Actually, I saw that today, but completely eluded me now when the fight was actually booked for. I think it was July.
Yeah.
Let me just sort of have a look now.
Big European dust up right there.
Yeah, no, it's a big fight for Alexander Rakic. If he can get one over Blachowicz, he could be the next in line after Chisera fights. But yeah, I can't find the date now, Stuart. It was actually funny enough, Stuart. It was meant to be this weekend. These two were meant to fight the weekend just gone.
Right. Okay.
But I have seen it that they were matched up again and it's rebooked. I'm assuming it'll be International Fight Week because they usually put on a few cards on, don't they? Around that time.
Yeah. It's always chocked to the gills in July there over in Vegas. So all the stuff going on Fight Week as well.
I want to ask you this as well because I keep reading it and I'm watching a few videos on Joe Rogan's today. Conor McGregor versus Kamaru Usman. Fire away and tell me what you think.
He's not deserving of it. And not only that, he's going to get absolutely obliterated. But it's a money game as much. It does sell, but that's just he can't get victory. He's struggling. He's struggling at 155. He's not looked great as his striking's not what it was. His timing, as you've said, because he's been in and out the game and he's made a lot of money. You can't dispute it. But Usman, that's like feeding the man to the wolves. It's just I don't get it. But I do financially, and for UFC and Dana White and everyone involved, the owners, I get that. It'll pull in multi millions. But yeah,
has Matt Shemaev's come out, Stuart? I think it was last week, and he sort of alluded to the point where even if he beats Burns, and I think if he beats Burns, I think the way things are looking at, I think Hazmat might get the next title shot after Usman and Edwards have fought. But even he's come out and said, I've got a funny feeling if that happens, then I'm going to be pushed back for Conor McGregor. But he's also reached out to Conor McGregor, Stuart, and said, come and train with us. I think that'd be an absolutely brilliant idea for Conor McGregor.
Has Conor reciprocated with that offer?
No, he's too busy arguing with Henry Cejudo on Twitter, mate. But I think that'd be great for Conor to go somewhere fresh. Look what it's been like for Darren Till, and Darren Till looks really rejuvenated, going over there and training at All Stars Gym in Sweden. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's something he could look at, but then I think Conor's ego would get in the way of that, and I don't think he'd allow himself to do something along those lines. But yeah, that's all I've got.
That's fine. I knew you'd have some bits on the news front as it pertains to UFC. But yeah, we're going to move on to the boxing. Now, we had 2 cards on simultaneously on Saturday, which is just absolutely daft, if you ask me. Boxer running the same night as Matchroom having a world title fight. Yeah, the mind did boggle a little bit there. But Josh Warrington is back in the win column after a loss and a draw to Mauricio Lara. And yeah, it was against Kiko Martinez, the 2-4 back in 2017. Josh Warrington beat him then. He beat him again. And just Warrington's high intensity, Chris, incredible. Is the range of shots, head, body, you name it, it was all there. But Kiko Martinez, as always, the bull that he is, he was coming at him. It was phone box territory, Chris, as you like to call it. You know, Kiko Martinez is always game. We know that. But yeah, I felt Warrington was going to finish him early, first round, and obviously we waited for the 7th flurry of headshots. Kiko's in the ropes. There's nothing coming back. But he did have a good, in the mid-rounds, he did have some good success, Kiko. I've got to be fair to him. You know, it's just, Warrington needed it. Warrington needed it more because I don't know where he would have gone with a loss off the back of this, you know. So he's back. He's back where he needs to be. Kiko Martinez is 36, 37 now, you know, for the who's who, especially. But I just feel it was Josh Warrington's night in front of his hometown in Leeds. What an atmosphere. What an atmosphere.
Broke his jaw, right?
Yeah. And he had a bad cut, Kiko, early on as well.
Yeah, the clash of heads, and he was really pissy about it. I think that's what maybe they lost concentration in that first round, Stuart, because he was really happy with that clash of heads. Then he got played a bit dirty, didn't he? He punched Josh Warrington after the bell.
Oh, yeah, I didn't like that. But did you notice they did the touch of gloves opening the next round? So we kind of forgot about, but it was a bit dirty, that. You know, do what you need to do, but after the bell, I hate when that happens. He was pissed off. You're right.
Yeah, you can tell.
He was angry, mate, but hold on. You're a pugilist. You know, you got to stick to the rules. You'll get your time to get shots away in those 3 minutes.
I think that's what sort of set him off in the first round. I think as much as Josh Warrington looked very good, I think that headbutt really caused a lot of aggro in his head because he was pissed off that, you know, the referee didn't pick it up. But in fighting, you know, you see it in all kind of combat sports. When you both dip down and you both get close, headbutts can happen. It's one of them. I know that Josh Warrington was using his shoulder a fair bit, and he did get told by the ref to stop it. But that wasn't the case. They both came down, and they both clashed. And I think he lost his concentration, Stuart, and I think he wanted to get that one back. But, you know, went to a bit aggressively, and he got caught on a fantastic overhand right by Josh Warrington, as well as ducking Kiko Martinez's his own overhanded right. Sublime. But as you say, Stuart, all in all, Josh Warrington looked fantastic. You could tell he wanted it as well. And it's always good, you know, for a guy in his hometown at Leeds, and then, you know, the boom of winning the title again. Where does he go?
I think they'll fight. I think he'll be against Lara for the 3rd time, because obviously it got stopped, didn't it, for the draw the 2nd time, and he needs to avenge that. He needs a win. So I think Lara, all being well, they can get that made again. They're going to have to go in for a 3rd time, aren't they? Because it's got to be a third. There's got to be a 3rd fight. Has to be, mate. On that.
Did you say Avasane's in that group?
He's high. He's welter, isn't he? He's at welter, Avanesian.
He's a good fighter.
So yeah, well, Conor Benn. There's talks of Conor Benn, isn't there, with him? Which that'd be fantastic. He's really raised his profile. I think Avanesian. He's in that European area, but I think he could be a world champion, and he's boxing over here as well. It's where his camp is. So yeah, that's really good. But yeah, I think Josh Warrington and Lara, that'll be the one now. Eddie Hearn will want to get that made. There's no question. There's no question of that. They've got
to be out for a while.
Rubber match, if it as it were, if you can call it a rubber, because
he'd be out for a while with that jaw though, won't he?
Yeah. He's not. He's got to recuperate from that and be passed by the boxing board, hasn't he? So yeah, bit of time. But yeah, fantastic. You know what you're going to get with Josh Warrington. If you'd have told me he would have lost to Lara, there was no fans in. He feeds off the fans. If it's in Leeds, if it's somewhere else in the UK, it caught me off guard because I couldn't have seen him losing his undefeated record. But yeah, it'll be Laura once they can get it done and made. I'm sure they'll want that on a card. But yeah, fantastic performance from Josh Warrington, Chris, and he's back. He's got world title back again, and yeah, he's one of our best. He's one of our best domestic boxers. There's no question of that.
Hold on 2 seconds. My for some reason the Alexa's going off.
It's all right, mate. It's all right.
There we go.
Are we moving on? Are we moving on? Just a quick one about Ebony Bridges winning the world title. Just a quick one. Yeah, she's a world champion. Shannon Courtney. Obviously, we have had these two before on the show a while back, talking about them when they fall. Yeah, she'll probably face Shannon Courtney again. It'd be like a unification at the weight. But yeah, she did well. She did very well the other night. She got through. She's world champion now, and yeah, she's living over here now as well. I think Leeds is actually where she's living, so she's not in Australia. She obviously feels she needs to be here. But yeah, fantastic performance from her on the undercard. And then moving on to boxer, Chris. Obviously, I've only watched this today. Richard Riakporhe, a huge talent in the UK, dazzles with huge KO of Dion Juma in a British cruiserweight clash. People say he's a slow starter, Riakporhe, but as it went on, Chris, fourth round, huge right hand to Juma, massive punch. Did well, Juma, to get back up. They go into the fifth. Again, great power punches, good shot selection. But Juma fought back. He landed himself as well. But into the eighth, great shot. Juma just cannons off the ropes. It was a body shot, Chris.
It was a straight jab.
Yeah. It was enough. It was enough to put him down. Riakporhe, the build on him as well.
He's a big guy.
Yeah. He reminds me of like a smaller Frank Bruno. He really does. He really does. But he's got the talent. You can hear him on commentary. He needs to pull the trigger. There was a long time where he didn't have a fight as well through the pandemic and stuff. So he's had a couple of fights now, and he's got to kick on. He'll be looking at European level, I think, in the next one now. But a good domestic clash at Wembley. Consequently, both cards were on the same night, which doesn't normally happen. Yeah. No. Even if they'd have put this one on Sunday, do you know what I mean? Which they have done. We've had Sunday cards, haven't we, over Britain? But yeah, fantastic performance from him. Moves on. We'll get to see what's going to happen with him. But yeah, just one fight at a time for Riakporhe. He looks a contender at cruiser.
Doesn't look to me like Stuart. He's going to be at cruiserweight for a long time with that. The body of that, like, yeah, he's set for heavyweight. You can see the frame. We say about Coley, don't we? I know Coley's a world champ. You can tell they've got the frame, and yeah, he's a big man. And as you say, he could put that weight on. There's no question. But yeah, just needs to get the rounds in again. People want the knockout. Even commentary people. I respect Adam Smith for Sky Sports. I do. Fantastic knowledge of the game. But sometimes you've got to get the rounds in, Chris, haven't you? Have to get rounds, and he needed them. It's 2 years, 18 months without a fight. It's a long time, isn't it? Yeah, well, yeah, it definitely is, Stuart. But as you say, learn his craft. As you say, as Tom Aspinall's always said, Stuart just wants some rounds, doesn't he? Doesn't want to jump, wants the rounds.
No, that's it.
And I think you learn about a bit more about a fighter the more they go into the rounds, don't you? And see, can they go through that metal when they're under adversity and stuff like that. And you need to see how good his cardio is, because there's a lot of muscle on that guy. You know what I mean? For a big, massive frame he has. So you need to see how far he can go into deep waters and stuff. So yeah, one fight at a time, and to see where Riakporhe goes. But you know what, Stuart? He's got the look, hasn't he?
Oh, absolutely. He could, and Juma's a big dude as well. Do you know what I mean? They're big lads. They're big lads, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he goes. There's plenty of fights at cruiser. Cruiser, it's good. It's good that we've got these cruiserweights UK based in there, because it's one division where I think you can. It's not the strongest on a world level. We've got a good chance of being very successful in there. We can get the world titles, but yeah, I see in the old crystal ball, Riakporhe, European level. Someone high up in the European area next for him. I think that's the next feasible step for Richard Riakporhe. And Chris, just a quick one on Savannah Marshall, who is fighting in Newcastle. As she gets ready for Clarissa Shields. She's got Herman next up in Newcastle. Chris, I'm not disputing. Hermans will have a good chance. She'll have a good chance, but Marshall, man, it's there's only one person. There's only one person winning this fight. When you're as highly touted as she is, with Fury, I'm not saying Hermans is cannon fodder. I'm not saying that in the slightest. But she's gonna be too powerful. Savannah's gonna be too powerful for this girl. A statement victory, I think. Clarissa Shields, she fought a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
And she couldn't get the girl out because she's the Bulgarian. I think she was a Slovenian girl. She struggled. Kozin, Emma Kozin, it was. It's just the name. She's come back into then. She wanted to take her out, didn't she, Clarissa? But she couldn't do it. Marshall will beat Clarissa Shields.
Do you think? So it's a mighty big call, that.
Too much power, and I think she's doing the MMA, she's doing the boxing. I think she's got too much going on. She's more accustomed to boxing. Okay, she obviously feels she's got credentials to do the MMA. I think there's too much going on, Chris. And I think Marshall, and it's going to be domestic for her. This is where the money is. Shields is going to come over. She's quite happy to come here. But Savannah, man, when you're touted by the great Tyson Fury, and he said, I want to spar with Savannah Marshall, it tells you everything over male boxers,
Yeah, it's a really high compliment, from one of the best at it. I don't know, Stu. I like Clarissa Shields. MMA is a bit too early days for her at the moment. She only lost a split decision. She hasn't been dominated per se, but that's something I'll keep an eye on. But watching her boxing, she's slick. She's a combination.
She can do a lot of stuff. She can do a lot of stuff. I think Savannah's a different breed with power. I just got this funny feeling. I've got stuff wrong. I don't deny I have. I've called stuff wrong, but on this one, I'm sticking to it. I just think it's going to be her. It's going to be her to do it. And massive a boxer early on in their infancy as a company. It's a big night. It's a big night. She's headlining in her hometown. And it did get heated, didn't it, after Shields? Savannah's quite timid in front of the cameras, but yeah, they had a bit of a Barney, didn't they?
That's what you need to, isn't it? That's what you want to start a fight.
Barbs left and right, verbal barbs, ready for that later in the year. But yeah, we look forward to that. We do women's boxing. There's been some fantastic bouts, and we've seen it in the UFC for a long time now, Chris. The women are fantastic.
They're catching up, Stuart. Yeah. No joke, they are catching up. I think more so in your boxing, because there's too many women in the UFC that just complete dominations. But the ladies are catching up in both combat sports, Stuart, and they're getting a lot of eyes, which hats off, and I enjoy watching them.
We'll be previewing it next week, but Triple G is back. He'll be out in Japan on the 6th. So we've got Triple G back in action at the middleweight kingpin. So yeah, looking forward to that. There's a lot coming up. Anything UFC coming up, Chris, that you want to shed some light on? Yeah, go on.
I'm not going to shed too much because it's next week, isn't it? And our preview show, it's going to be all about it. But we have got Volkanovski versus the Korean Zombie. We do have PTR versus Aljo Oscar Sterling's too. And we do have Khamzat Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns on that card. I want to break too much into it because I feel it's a big conversation for next week.
Absolutely.
But, I'm excited to see Petian and Aljo go back at it, Stuart, because there's been, as you say, barbs the last couple of days via Twitter.
There's only one man. There's only one man winning that. Aljamain's in for a world of pain. But I tell you what, the match of the night, it could be Chimaev. It could be Chimaev with Gilbert Burns, couldn't it? Out of all of them,
this is a test, yeah.
Volkanovski will dispatch Korean Zombie as well. That's my. Yeah, I can't see anything. He's been when you've beaten Holloway, Holloway, it's just I just can't see it. The man's going to be champion for a long time, I think. But
hey, hold on a minute. Arnold Allen's in there.
Oh, hey, I'm not disputing. I'm not, mate. If there's anybody who can do it, it's Arnold. He's not far away now. He's on. He's on the horizon, isn't he? He's on. It'd be in the front view of Volkanovski. If anybody's got the credentials, it's him. But yeah, I just think at the present time, Volkanovski, man, amazing. Well, he's been fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think at one point there was going to be anybody to match Max Holloway at all. You know, just with striking in general, because we all know how good Max Holloway's boxing is. And I'd say, in my own opinion, he's probably one of the best in the UFC, Stuart, with the boxing side of things. And Volkanovski matched, but he used his wrestling, didn't he? And he used his size very well. And he did things, I mean, you could say in that fight, people could say Max won, Volkanovski won, especially the second fight. But it just shows you how good he's become. Yeah, I don't think Korean Zombie is gonna really put up much of a fight. But you never know it in this sport, Stuart. One thing changes things.
Well,
and MMA math is completely wild. So
Juliana Pena, if ever you want to say someone who upset the odds, and there's been very few where the odds have been upset, so wildly. When someone is so down, on the odds. When she's the underdog by a long stretch and she's pulled out, something could happen. Never. But sometimes you just know, don't you?
Yeah, I think I've got you with that one. I think the same with Peter Yan and Eldridge Sterling.
Yeah.
I think Peter Yan. I think him and Max Holloway, Stuart. I think we're talking about boxing again. Them two are elite level strikers. It just shows. Aljamain Sterling is just. I think he's in for a world of hurt because I think Peter Yan's want to get that knee back. Okay, so it was a mistake and he did make a mistake and he owned up to it. And I think he's gonna wipe the floor out Aljamain Sterling. Gilbert and Burns. Burns and
sound like Gilbert and Sullivan. Musicians.
Maybe I just made one for him.
Gilbert and Burns. Gilbert and Burns.
sounds like a flag flipping company. It's an interesting fight. We're gonna see where he is. We're going to see where Hazmat is.
It's his time, and he's got to get that. He's got to beat Gilbert Burns, but at the same time, Gilbert Burns, he's been brilliant. He's been fantastic. A huge test, but Chimaev, I think he's the one. He's another one. There's several, isn't it? He's not just the one. There's several guys who were in title contention in the UFC. There's no question.
100%, and I look forward to us next week previewing it. And
absolutely, give it the full. We need to give it the full shebang in the preview next week. Anything to add before the closing out?
No, I don't want to get a slap by Will Smith if I'm honest, Stuart. So I might get on my bike now.
Absolutely. So this has been episode 52 of Powerful.tv Big Fight Weekly with myself, Stuart Plummer, and my co-host and cousin Chris Stu. I got it right this week. I ballsed it up last week.
Yeah, you called yourself me.
Yeah. Crazy. Two people at once. Bloody hell. But we will see you. It'll be next Monday, won't it, Chris, for 53?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll stick to Monday. And we will see you then for episode 53.
See you next week.